Good afternoon, dear colleagues. It's my pleasure to start this afternoon and to welcome here Mr. Frank Mittelbach, who actually is so nice to agree to receive an honorary degree from the Masarykovy University. Tomorrow, it's based on the suggestion or nomination of our scientific board. This honorary degree is typically given from the Masarykovy University to exceptional persons whose contribution to the science or art were internationally recognized. And this is actually an interesting story because Frank is not a typical academician, and as such, we were also on a risky side when nominating his person, because we actually have to fight through this regulation, and we managed, and I'm very proud that we were able to have a successful nomination of a person who is actually a software engineer. For us, it's a great, let's say, achievement. I'm very proud of it. So what was his exceptional journey through this software engineering? I believe we will hear in a moment. And let me just say thank you again. We are proud of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. Buongiorno. Do you hear me? Okay. Guten Tag, Mr. and Mrs. Mittelbach. Welcome, spectabilis. Pěkné odpoledne, honorable faculty members. Pěkné dopoledne, the whole faculty and guests. Let me introduce Frank Mittelbach, a world-renowned expert in document engineering and automation, who has led the research and development of the LaTeX system for almost 4 decades. The excellence of Frank in advancing human knowledge is rooted in the 3 key pillars: pursuit of typographic quality, innovation in document and software engineering, and a commitment to accessibility, thereby ensuring the free dissemination of complex scientific documents across the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, called STEM. Let me start with pursuit of quality. Pursuit of Quality is the title of a seminal paper by that young scholar that outlined his vision for achieving the highest standard of mastercraft, typography free automation. It has been present in Prague at Eurotech 92, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think it was you. It was
first,
Lausanne,
in
yeah.
91, but then,
and then again.
in proceedings of Eurotech, there is a paper called as that. Quality is what has mattered, matters now, and will continue to matter in digital typography, in computer science as a whole, and in the lives of all us in the 21st century. It's worth reflecting that computer science as a technical discipline shares its etymological roots in the Greek word techne, meaning craft or art. The evolution of document production and information access is a testament to this craft. It is a lineage that traces its origin back to the mechanical genius of Johannes Gutenberg, processing through the digital foundational tech engine of Donald Knuth. You see here as a first doctor honoris causa of our faculty. The typographic and aesthetic mastery of Hermann Zapf, the structure markup envisioned by Leslie Lamport, and culminating today in the robust modern architecture of what we call rightfully LaTeX, or might rightfully call Mittelbach's tech or FM tech. But it's called LaTeX, never mind. When discussing this relentless pursuit of perfection, it's impossible not to draw a direct parallel to the very first honorary doctor of the Faculty of Informatics at Masarykovy University. Donald Erwin Knuth famously created the underlying tech engine to bring flawless typography to his magnum opus, The Art of Computer Programming. For both Knuth and Mittelbach, building this system was fundamentally a labor of love, a deep, intrinsic motivation to solve complex problems, not for commercial gain, but to achieve a mathematical and aesthetically perfect outcome. So both are perfectionists, and to the best, they use that qualities for the best of the word, I would say. Frank's early vision translated Knuth's foundational typesetting engine into a structured, accessible system for the masses. In today's era, characterized by the rapid rise of artificial intelligence and the mass generation of good enough, hallucinated or structurally ambiguous content, this uncompromising pursuit of verifiable, pristine quality is more than vital than ever. The rigorous standards Frank has championed serve as a necessary anchor in the sea of automated noise. The founders of the Faculty of Informatics were acutely aware of communities' needs and this pursuit of quality. Consequently, the support and daily use of LaTeX began on day one of the faculty existence. LaTeX was employed for all printed outputs and documents generated by the faculty's information system, including diplomas, timetables, and official correspondence. LaTeX has proven indispensable for the high-quality typesetting of admission tests and course examination generated from the university's information system, including complex mathematical formulae, as well as the publishing of theses and academic papers. At our faculty, LaTeX is used more than 90% of all publications and theses, so it's the crucial part of publishing pipeline here. For second area, document and software engineering. However, a visionary pursuit of quality cannot scale globally without a foundation of rigorous software engineering. This brings us to the second pillar of Frank's legacy. Software engineering is a cornerstone of our faculty's academic programs. The history of LaTeX evolution under Frank's leadership from the 1985 version 209 to today's highly sophisticated system capable of generating fully accessible documents is a fascinating saga of engineering that should serve as an inspiration to every student of informatics. While supporting a vast and active user base, Frank analyzed, designed, and implemented changes that successfully evolved a single file, latex.tech, into a robust, well-documented, structured, open source, and extensible system. I remember editing latex.tech with Norton Editor on MS-DOS in 1992 or so. So I know that code very well with Lamport's comments of functional programming of this day LaTeX. While supporting, today this system sits at the head of a $1 billion publishing industry within the STEM domain. More than 90% of mathematical journals and archive papers are actually typeset by LaTeX, right? pivotal milestone in this engineering journey was Frank's design of the EXPL3, Experimental Programming Language 3, a foundational programming language for the LaTeX 3 project, even in the early 90s. Leslie Lamport's original implementation of LaTeX was brilliant, conceptualizing document markup through macro expansion, a method that shares conceptual DNA with functional programming paradigms. However, as the ecosystem grew, the limitations of raw tech macro programming became a bottleneck for long-term development. Frank early recognized that to scale, LaTeX required a formalized foundational programming layer. EXPL3 provides exactly that: a rigorous syntax, predictable expansion control, distinct data types, and a clear separation between the document design interface and the underlying programming logic. This strict separation of presentation and content transformed LaTeX extension development from an arcane art of macro hacking into a modern, modular software engineering discipline. Beyond language design, Frank's architectural vision prioritized absolute portability and rock-solid backward compatibility, an immense technical challenge across decades of changing operating system and character encodings. His rigorous approach to interface design meant that code written for one era of hardware would gracefully survive into the next. On our packages system at the faculty on Anxur, there is modules, and there is module tech from, I guess, 1996 or so. And it still compiles if you put the right libraries there. So the documents you have created 30 years ago are still portable almost without change, because the markup stayed, and what has changed was just the programming layer and LaTeX core behind the surface markup. A tangible living proof of this unparalleled engineering stability exists right here at the Faculty of Informatics. For example, in 1995, automated LaTeX macros were implemented to generate timetables for lecture halls. That was bachelor thesis of Zuzana Nevěřilová, and this software and generation tables, macros, generated directly from the university information system is today, over 30 years later, in action and are used for generating the tables that are on the doors of our lecture halls. And they still, even though the implementation of databases, of information system, of languages of their applications changed, the fixed point of this procedure interface and macros stayed and persisted these 3 decades. The LaTeX perfect typeset outputs are generated from is and can be seen on the lecture hall doors and display on the digital screens in front of the lecture room in our faculty. And it's just one of the examples. Virtually all database outputs generated from is that needs appropriate quality of output are thrown via LaTeX engine. Frank's ongoing research continues to push algorithmic boundaries. He has been recognized with paper awards at the premier ACM Symposium on Document Engineering, .eng, for his groundbreaking work on global algorithms for page breaking, successfully extending Knut and Plath's dynamic programming approach for line breaking to the computational staggering complexity of optimal pagination. Tech paginates per page, but these algorithms allow chapter-wise or even document-wise optimization when you have enough computing power. In 2024, he returned to our university to deliver a series of talks regarding these award-winning results and his extensive experience in document accessibility. This profound engineering stability and strict separation of content from presentation didn't just ensure LaTeX survival. It paved the way for its most human-centric advancement to date, accessibility. The primary goal of any technical document is to convey complex semantics through text, mathematics, tables, and diagrams to the recipient in a structured manner. LaTeX generation output in PDF format is among the first systems to truly fulfill that goal. The latest evolution of LaTeX allows users to embed a document semantic tree structure directly within the PDF, ensuring that information can be processed automatically by machines and, crucial, by assistive technologies, screen readers and such. So in the PDF, there is mathematical tree of formulas embedded so that they are ingested and used for the life of PDF that is UA2 compatible. The impact of the recent LaTeX tagging project is profoundly transformative, especially for students of technical disciplines with disabilities. Historically, the barrier to entry in STEM fields for students with visual or cognitive impairments has been incredibly steep due to the heavy reliance on dense mathematical notation and complex visual diagram. Frank and his team's breakthrough shatters this barrier. By automatically converting standard structural semantics into tagged PDF data, complex mathematical equations are no longer opaque, flattened visual artifacts. Instead, blind and visually impaired students can now navigate advanced calculus, physics formulas, and data tables using screen readers and braille displays just as seamlessly as their sighted peers. This is not merely a technical achievement. It's a profound democratization of STEM education, ensuring that brilliant minds are not excluded from technical disciplines simply because of a physical disability. I'm glad to see here the colleagues from Teiresias that may deploy LaTeX in their work to assist our students. Furthermore, this advancement radically transforms document indexing and automated knowledge extraction. In the era where scientific literature is continuously mined by search engines, indexing algorithms, and AI models, standard PDFs often lose semantic meaning. The text PDFs generated by modern LaTeX allow machines to definitively differentiate between a foundational theorem, a bibliographic citation, and a footnote. This ensures that the global output of STEM research is not only radically inclusive, but accurately indexable, searchable, and interpretable by the software system that will drive the next generation of scientific discovery. To conclude, this laudatio has highlighted only 3 areas where Frank Mittelbach has contributed profound research and software solutions that millions of scholars worldwide use daily and often take for granted. Over the last 4 decades, his technical foresight and engineering discipline have fundamentally shaped the way scientific knowledge is offered and preserved, deeply impacting the daily academic life here at Masarykovy University and echoing across the entire global scientific community. It's therefore a great honor that Masarykovy University will tomorrow recognize this 40-year journey by Frank Mittelbach and his team. By conferring this honorary doctorate, the university will celebrate his tireless pursuit of quality in the field of document engineering, a legacy from which the world of science will continue to benefit for generations to come. Thank you, Frank, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peter, very much for this very nice introduction, and also a very warm welcome from my side as well, Frank. It's a very big honor to have you here. But the very official part will start tomorrow, right, where we'll be all very serious. And today it's meant to be more the informal, warm welcome from our side here at the faculty. And now we are having about 30 minutes for the discussion with you. And I think, and I encourage you to really use this great opportunity to ask Frank almost everything, right?
Well, asking is always possible.
Asking is always possible, great.
The question what I'm going to answer is a different one, yeah?
So maybe I start with the first one, which is maybe a bit brave, but we heard a lot about your amazing achievements you did, and it's really impressive. And you also heard about how much you influence our faculty as well. Like the appearance of all the signs here. All students should know you because they are working with your tool almost on a daily basis. We all do when we are writing publications. So how do you feel about it?
Well, it's difficult to say. I mean, for me, it's quite a journey, and I think early on it was a sort of defining point when Leslie more or less dumped LaTeX onto my lap because I was kind of boldly saying it's all wrong, being young and naive at the time. Then through the years, I learned that I was actually doing something which was benefiting a lot of people, and that is gratifying. And to be recognized here tomorrow is really a great honor for me and for the people who are doing this kind of work. Volunteering most of the time, all of the time in some sense, but that wasn't the point. The point is really that you go along and you feel that by the end of the day you get a lot back. Not always. People are sometimes interesting, but on the whole, it is very. It's wonderful to see these kind of things actually taking shape and being recognized and being used. I mean, that's really where it comes down to it.
That's a dream of all of us, but
yeah.
Only some are achieving that. So.
Well, it will not stay forever. It will stay for a while, but right now it's something where I think I'm really happy about being able to take this journey.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I still remember when you've been here about 1.5 years ago for the informatics colloquium talk, which was really great. And I have to say, I don't remember too many talks, but yours was really very special. And nice I really appreciate so much how humble and warm you are. You know, it's like the personality connected with the achievements. It somehow normally doesn't fit to me. So I'm really happy to know you, and that especially you just are getting this award because it's very well deserved, and we are really grateful for that.
Thank you.
So, questions from the audience. Who has a question? Time to ask whatever, as it was already open. Yeah, the dean has a question.
Sure. So, okay. So we are at the university, and one of the, let's say, roles or goals of the university is to educate young people. And we have started, let's say, study degree in software engineering a couple of years ago. And we are also experiencing that a lot of young people feels like they don't need the education. So what's your opinion about that? Do you think it's still worth it to educate in software engineering, or should we give up?
That's an interesting insight that you say that's the feeling. I think it is absolutely important to educate in something like software engineering, even if what we educated 10 years or 15 years or 20 years ago is not what you should educate now. It's fundamentally changing all over the time. I mean, when I started to do something, I was using punch cards, and there was no internet. At the time, you couldn't communicate. There were all things changed throughout the last 40 years enormously. And of course, same goes with something like engineering software or engineering anything. Just in the recent years, with the next sort of disruptive change that we have with artificial intelligence, engineering of software will change drastically. So you not only have to educate, I think you have to educate yourself, you have to research that area. It has to be sort of done anew. But the need for this kind of education isn't going away. It will be a different education over time. And so, yes, obviously you should, in my opinion.
Thank you.
It just may be a matter of how many students actually and people who are graduating from such a degree. Maybe this will also change a bit, right? Because, as you said, like some parts will be really replaced. It will be moved to some maybe different style of educating, but I think now we are also getting into the point where we need to somehow a bit of convincing students that it still makes sense to get education generally in IT, because they will be needed. I know that there is this boom that the juniors are not so much of interest of the companies right now, but it's just an evolution of that. And so, I don't know, that's my opinion, but maybe...
Well, we are going currently through a certain kind of hype phase, which all those hype phases, like if you know the Gartner cycles, it goes like this, and then there's a certain peak of where people think everything can be solved with the new technology, with the new ideas, and then there comes the realization that nothing is actually being solved at the time, and then it goes down very drastically, and then it comes back because, of course, a lot is going to change, and a lot is going to be done by a new technology, and it's changing but then it comes to the point where you actually start to use things productively. So yes, at the moment we have a certain tendency to think about all this kind of thing is no longer necessary because it will be done in a snap. But some stuff will be done nicely and easily and goes forward automatically and things like that. There will be some parts that are no longer being done the way you've done it in the past, because there's no need for it. There are better ways. But thinking about design on a larger scale, you will have assistance of that, but on a higher level you will have, again, the human input that is necessary, and you have to learn how to make use of this. You have to also learn how to make use of the new tools, which is part of this software engineering, if you like. So yeah, I think it will not go away, or at least if we are successful in dealing with it.
Nice. Does anyone want to contribute to this crazy topic or switch to completely another one? Yeah, Johannes?
So these last years you have been working very intensively on producing barrier-free PDF documents. Can you share with us some of the problems you had to solve for doing so, either on development or on quality assurance?
Sure, for ages, for a long time. I think the most drastic problem that we faced was actually, for me, the most surprising one. We worked on getting accessible documents, and we actually thought we were succeeding. And when we had succeeded, nobody could use them. So in fact, they were not accessible. Working ahead, we were not aware of this problem. We found that there is a PDF standard, which is 6 or 7 years old, so you would imagine it is adopted by industry. But effectively, we had the chicken and egg problem. There were no documents in the new standard, so nobody bothered in the industry to implement it because there was no request for it. But for accessibility in the sense of structured information on the level of STEM complexity, so mathematical text and complex data, you needed this additional layer of standard actually being implemented. So we produced documents, and then the documents failed all over the place. The PDF reader couldn't make use of it. We had accessibility checkers used by universities because nowadays this is also important stuff, and regulated, so they were checking all this, and they all got red flags because this document is not accessible. In fact, it was much more accessible in theory, but in practice, the checkers were saying no. That was really sort of a surprising fight. And so we changed that situation just by producing documents for the first time. And then gradually things started to change. So one of the highlights for me is that this month, or end of February, Firefox, the browser, is the first browser who's actually being able to read a PDF with mathematics correctly. I mean, passing it to the speech reader in a way that you can actually communicate with, get the information out of the system. And with this is a huge breakthrough. Chrome is coming along as well. Then we have actually more or less succeeded in passing that barrier. But it was a stumbling block that I was really sort of were not expecting, and it was kind of a touch and go. Because if industry would have, it's a little bit like EPUB. It's perfect for novels, but try to see a STEM document in EPUB and try to work with it. It doesn't really. And so this was the same situation. Technically, the other huge problem with LaTeX in particular is that we were doing open heart surgery. We have millions of users. We had to change the underlying engine to support accessibility sort of throughout without killing our user base by making everything not work for a while or break and get fixed and break. I mean, nobody wants to have his PhD thesis being sort of broken for months, and we fix it. I'm sure we fix it. It's so that was technically a very problematical thing, and this is why I said on the outset when we were trying to make this work that it takes several years to get to the point where we can produce something that is automatically doing the right thing, because we have to go in slow steps without making things sort of go boom.
Wow. Yeah, there's a question.
Thank you for your answer regarding this issue or this topic. May I ask you, do you think that those problems you described now with deploying of accessible PDF is also because the PDF itself and accessibility of it is some kind of add-on into the PDF? It is not, let's say, the PDF format is not designed, it's not accessible by design, and all the UA standards are, in my opinion, like add-ons, and there is a lot of methods and let's say possible ways how to apply the accessibility into the PDF, and that's why it is quite difficult for renderers to render the accessibility layer, let's say, precisely. And that's why, let me ask a maybe heroic question. In my opinion, if in case of, for example, pageless documents, which are typeset in LaTeX, would be possible to export in another format than PDF as an alternative, like HTML plus MathML, or till some extent even EPUB. Do you think that this way, hypothetically, could solve the problems you mentioned before with PDFs?
No, I don't think so. I agree with you that the perception of PDF has been and has for a long time in the industry that it is the main goal is to have printable output, final format. In fact, the idea that PDF has a structure tree as part of it is very old. It wasn't being used by the industry for a long time because accessibility in that sense didn't make a lot of impact in the way PDF was being used. One of the strong points of PDF, I think, is that it is a final format. If you have a PDF around which is old, it still produces exactly what it was producing 20 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever. And it is just in one place. The idea of having something like HTML is not, as in my opinion, not so long-living in that sense. It is more a fleeting format. The websites change from day to day. That's the kind of experience. And if you have an HTML document, you wouldn't have to have a lot of additional information going with it, next to it, to ensure that you have sort of a reproducible result. Without it, you end up with a lot that you find these days, that you have an HTML which still contains data, which is useful, but is not able to produce something which the way it produced it years earlier. Both things would be possible to solve. I consider, in fact, if we get to the point that by default PDF is using its capability of structure, like we intend to do, automatically producing structured PDFs always by the end of the day, then you have a format that gives you, in some sense, the best of both worlds. You can, from such a PDF, generate perfectly, at least in theory, these are all, in some sense, theory answers, HTML. That works quite well, which is also why I think something like LaTeX as a source format is very, very powerful, because it in a way, it is a format which is, because it's basically ASCII based or plain text based, let's say it this way, it's very long living and supportive to things like source control. So you have, if you have a LaTeX or text source from 30 years ago, it is still sort of an easy to understand and producible, usable piece of data. This is why I think something like LaTeX is really a good first level source, and I think PDF as an output, at least for now, if I look at it, can be an extremely good final sort of document that can be sort of used for second level archival. I would still keep the source of LaTeX next to it. You could go in a different way, and I think by the end of the day we will see this kind of parallel. But from the way I see the advantage of having everything again inside the PDF for archival purposes, for long term, including its semantic structures, then is actually giving you a good sort of next generation final format. There might be something else coming, but I don't see that HTML as the target final output, as the only target final output, is a good choice. It is, in my opinion, quality-wise, a second-level choice. If you look at it from an accessibility perspective, then the answer is slightly different through the historical situation, because until now, PDFs were horrible for accessibility questions. But that was because nobody tried. The format as such offered everything, but if the industry didn't pursue it, they viewed accessibility as something you put alternate text on it. If you think of mathematics on a page, in a mathematical paper, and every formula gets an alternate text. First of all, as an author, who wants to do that? As a recipient, who wants to listen to that? I mean, this is horrible. If you would think of Braille being read out to you, a mathematical formula in Braille, but spoken to you as an English text or whatever, Czech text. The Braille for a very short formula, if you have parentheses or something, would be several lines of Braille text. And it is in mathematical notation, it's something like 3-4 characters. And so the whole understanding of how to make, or the whole approach of making PDFs accessible were so bad compared to what was from day one possible with HTML, that everybody thought, and correctly thought, the only way to make for students with the need for accessibility tools is to use HTML. And that was for 30 years correct. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to, and I think we have been proving that. Now the question is what the future will what we take from that. I think in some sense the quality that you can get from a PDF for both worlds offers that the PDF is actually becoming a centerpiece where the information is not distorted so much. If you go directly HTML, the quality for the print direction is far less good, and I think we have to try to improve both sides. We neglected the accessibility side for 30 years, which is why PDF had such a bad reputation. But effectively, that was just because the way it was done. That's my opinion on this. But yeah, future can produce new formats. But
Okay, great, thank you. Peter.
I do have one note and one or maybe two questions. The note is related to the accessibility of PDF, where most of the outputs of academicians and theses of faculty informatics is stored. There is a student of mine here, Adam Kolonia, that will submit a thesis which goal is to deliver a new version of thesis class file that will support or strongly support accessible PDFs that will be stored in the information system and thesis.cz, thus being accessible for future generations. So that's one comment. The question is related to my speech. I have tried from the external point of view kind of stress the three areas of your expertise that are worth mentioning. I am interested in your internal feelings that match your own feeling that to which this external point matches, and especially I am interested in the errors you now see were wrong in your journey, reflecting on the Donald Knuth's attitude, where he has put Piet Hein poem "The Road to Wisdom is simple, to err and err and err and err, but less and less and less." So he intentionally looks for his errors and builds his rise or education on that approach. So the question is whether you have some of your errors in your past endeavors are there, if any.
Wow. Well, largely, I think most of the stuff that I did throughout my professional career, both in this part of my career as well as in the IT industry, where I was working the other half of my time. Most of them I wouldn't do exactly the same again. I mean, I can point to basically anything that I did which took traction with people, where I say I was, at least in some parts, totally wrong. Sometimes it got corrected, sometimes it survived in this state for a long time, which is a little bit of a point of mine. Sometimes a bad standard is better than none. Even if it turns out that you have to sort of work then around it on a certain level later on, it gives a foundation, a certain foundation. So one example, Unicode. I have so many sort of issues with Unicode. I've given papers in Unicode conferences where I said this is wrong, that is wrong, and so on and so forth, and we should. But on the whole, it solved so many problems. These days, I mean, the first time I came to Brno in 1995 or something, we all had to deal with horrible issues, with not being able to talk from one country to the next because the computers were not talking to each other, but both were thinking they're talking, having the same files, but they were interpreting the files differently. These kind of things with code pages and everything was a huge problem. In some sense, to 99%, I would say the standard solved it. It had problems, it has problems, it will have problems, but having that done. So in that sense, yeah, I've done a lot of things where I, in retrospect, think it was a mistake. Sometimes and I talk about it. I explain what went wrong, but even though it was done in a second level quality, in retrospective, doing it was helpful. So, okay, I forgot all the many other parts of the questions you wanted to ask, and you did ask.
To repeat it, essentially what I have missed in my laudatio from your internal point of view.
What do you have missed?
The second is the error parts. Basically, what you have learned in your career from your errors.
A lot. I mean, I'm a stickler. I'm a perfectionist. I mean, my wife said that just last week, something like, why the hell are you going to the Dante conference in front of this Brno conference when you have now 5 days of night work to do to finish everything up for here? Because both is important right now, also it is important we are on a level to educate people to go around. So I had to go to this other conference as well. So yeah, I'm a perfectionist in that sense. You didn't say that. I also sometimes call me in German an Erbsenzähler, so I can count the, peas, yes. But I try to look around. I always try to look back to what I did and quite happy to acknowledge that things can be done better, and I try to do things better over time. It takes a long time, sometimes ages. It's also embarrassing if you get somebody to tell you things are wrong and you say, yes, it's wrong, I try to solve it, and then you actually solve it 7 years later, and you think, should you really write back to this person? So it's now finished. What he had. Be always inquisitive to what you're doing, and try to challenge yourself in terms of that you can be wrong. That's an important part. But I don't think I'm wrong most of the time. So if people telling me that, and I take some time of convincing, I learned that about myself too. But in the end, maybe yes, I come around. At least for now, I still think I'm able to see that things are wrong and try to fix them after the fact. But yeah, just getting things done in the best possible manner to what you think you can do at a time, and then having that being used is typically a good thing in the end, because if people are using things consistently, even on a sort of second level quality, that actually elevates the results. If you have perfect solutions, but they are not compatible to each other, by the end of the day, none of this solution is going to work. So you have to do both things. Try to do something good, reasonably good, as best as you can, but also try to ensure that it fits with the, I don't want to say political situation, with the public. You have to take the people with you. I mean, there's a system around tech, which maybe some people know, which is called context, which I think is much better in many respects than what LaTeX had. Different kind of philosophies around it. But the important bits for LaTeX was always, once we got traction, to ensure that we can take people with us. Which sometimes means we have to make compromises, which you, if you don't care, could avoid and get it to a better system. But a better system that is not being used by the end of the day is also not a better system. So that's kind of the sort of the balance I always try to do.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. And for the sake of taking a photo, actually, right now.
In the sunshine.
Unfortunately, I have to now end up this all official, let's say, semi-official part of the discussion. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
And now you are all invited to take the photo outside in the sun, which will be amazing. And of course, afterwards, we have a small refreshment here in the room next to, when you are getting out of here, you will see that, where Frank will be also present there again, so you can follow more informal discussion for those who are, for example, shy to ask now openly some questions. And tomorrow there is the very official part of the whole program. So at 10 a.m. There is at the Faculty of Law, Frank will be actually awarded officially, finally. So you were supposed to get also the invitation to your email. If not, please just check it, maybe also the spam folder. You will see there, and you can still come. You'll be very cordially invited there. And in the afternoon, Frank will give a talk about his work and achievements at the Mendel Refectory Museum.
Actually, I'm not going to talk about any of my
achievements,
except a few words about what we have not managed to do so far, because hoping to sort of raise the bar, getting it done.
Actually, that's perfect, because this was my question for today, but there's no space for that, so I'm looking forward for tomorrow.
It's more like a little bit of, I don't know, history. Yeah, I mean that you probably seen that the title. It's about the evolution of document generation, or my slightly skewed thoughts about it.
So don't miss that as well. So thank you, and we will see each other in a minute outside.
Okay.
Thank you.